Hi, welcome back. Is it the middle of summer and I'm doing an ultimate summer recommendation? Yes, nobody says anything. I'm late to every trend, I'm late to everything. But I do feel like it makes kind of a lot of sense because I had to read the summary books before recommending them to you. So I'm actually doing data analysis. I'm actually doing research before recommending you stuff, which means you know that they will be good. I'm going to recommend you the perfect summary books to last you until the end of September. So I divided the books into 3 categories. Where is the other one? It's here. First category is girl. So confusing. You know, this is a brat summer, even for me, who I actually don't really like techno noise music, but Charlie XCX album, Divine, which it's going to be like lit fic books that make me think, and they are about relationship between the characters. And second category is kicking my feet actually. This is about rom-coms. Summer for me is about romance books, rom-coms, and books that make me actually kicking my feet. You know, I want to blush, I want to laugh, and I want good, healthy relationships in my books. Third category is Joyride. If you've not heard the first free Kesha song, like free Kesha albums, it's Joyride. You have to listen it on YouTube. It's such a vibe. It's like horror clowns if it was a music, and also like Devilman Crybaby, the Netflix series. So good. There are a lot of people that celebrate Summerween, in which in the summer they read horrors and thrillers and like mystery books. This is about them. I think we should start with kicking my feet actually. I do have a lot of them. I'm actually going to be doing a author recommendation. If you've seen the covers, it's obviously Hiii Hazelwood. Now, are Hiii Hazelwood's book the best written in the entire world? No. Do they make me feel things on a visceral level? Yes. I am a girl in STEM. I'm an engineer. I deeply appreciate her STEMinist novellas. Not this one, but these two. We all know The Love Hypothesis. But I think that's the weakest book that she ever published, and then it gets progressively better. I think Love on the Brain is The Love Hypothesis without the cringy parts. So if you want the same exact premise as The Love Hypothesis, read Love on the Brain. And then if you want an actual to God good feminist rom-com, Love Theoretically, it's one of my favorites. It's so incredible, it's so funny, it's hilarious. I get that the humor in these books is either you love it, you hate it. I love it, even though I'm definitely Gen Z and she's a very much millennial and all of her protagonists are very quirky. I actually really appreciate them. I did actually read Checkmate, which is about chess. If you don't know me, well, I'm going to tell you about me. I love books about chess. They are my hyperfiction. I love them so much. I have no idea why. I'm terrible at chess. I love books about games, especially chess. This is YA and it's about a chess prodigy. Loved it to death. It was so good. That a lot of people did not enjoy the fact that this was YA and there's mentions of sex. But you know that YA goes up to 19 years old. I really enjoyed this book. And then babes, I do have Not in Love. Still haven't read it. I am keeping it for a video. But babes, this is going to be my Roman Empire. This is going to be it. Then of course, we cannot talk about Hiii Hazelwood without mentioning her other counterpart, Emily Henry. Now, I'm going to recommend you 2 books. Book Lovers, and the other one that she published this year is called Funny Story. Because these are the most rom-com-y that she actually published. She doesn't actually write romance books. I think she writes lit fic books that are heavy on the romance. But Book Lovers and Funny Story, they are, I think, the most romancy ones, and they are so funny, so compelling. They have a wonderfully complex main character. Book Lovers, it's for all the bigger sisters, like the older sisters. Funny Story is about the overachievers and people-pleasing persons. If you want complex writing, beautiful, this one's. But also, if you want another book by Emily Henry that's more lit fic and it's about friendship, you have to read Happy Place. Sobbed my way through the last 100 pages, but it's so tender, so summery. Then you may say, Alice, you always recommend Emily Harry and Hazelwood. That's such a basic recommendation. So now I'm going to recommend you a book that probably you've never even heard about. It's Lies and Wedding by Kevin Kwan. Kevin Kwan is the author of the Crazy Rich Asians. There's a movie inspired by those books. One of my favorite book series of all time. This one, so good. It's about rich people weddings and lies and misunderstanding going on at these weddings about the super ultra mega uber rich. It's infused with social commentary, so it's not just about rich people, it's about even critiquing those rich people. But this is a comedy. This is truly a comedy, and it's so fucking funny. It's such a wonderful book. You have to read it. It's summery, it's about weddings, it's very comedic, and I don't know, it's very cut and dry with the writing sometimes about these fucking rich people. This was my kick in my feet, actually. But now I think we should go down with girl. So confusing. Sometimes I think that you like me, sometimes I think that you hate me. Do you hate me or do you like me? Ooh, baby, I have some recommendations for you. This is not lithic, it's tethering the line between lithic, just general fiction, and a romance book. But just a Hastings book. I have here The Daisy Hates, but you should actually start with Magnolia Parks. If you don't know, the Magnolia Parks universe is about interconnecting books. So you read Magnolia Parks book 1, and then Daisy Hates book 1, and then Magnolia Parks book 2, and then Daisy Hates book 2. And it's about, again, the ultra rich, but this time in London. And it's less about their wealth and more about their relationship. Book 1 of both series, I thought it was a train wreck. I couldn't bear to look away. As you get on with the books, the characters really do mature. They're all in a very toxic relationship with each other in the first books, and then they go to therapy and they grow, and really, really bad things happen to them, and you're like, these are real people, even though they're not. They're a caricature of rich people, but they're real to me. The feelings and turmoil, it's very real. It's about grief. I think you should read some trigger warnings for the later books, but this is Girl So Confusing core to the max. And then, if you want a girl so confusing, but it's actually boy so confusing, but it's actually man so confusing, and it's actually very bad gay man so confusing, you should read Less by Andrew Shawir, one of my favorite books of all time. This is about a American writer in his 50s. He feels like he's a failure, and instead of going to the wedding of his one true love, another guy, he books a trip to all over the world, especially Europe, but also all over the world, to promote his book and get some ideas for his next one. And I tell you, this book changed the way that I view my own self and my own queerness for the better. This is also a comedic book. It's so funny, but it's so insightful, and again, so tender. It talks about relationship in such a human way, but it's so funny because you're following Arthur Left. Who is working under my roof? Who is working during my working hour? So yeah, queer, tender, you should definitely read Less. It won a Pulitzer Prize. And then I thought, a lot of people, including me, last year wanted to bawl their eyes out for summer. I don't know why, probably my period, I don't know what happened. So I read Young Mungo by Douglas Stewart. The trigger warnings are heavy on this book. This is about young Mungo, who is growing up in the 19th Glasgow when there's the religious conflict between Catholics and Protestants, and it gets really bloody. It gets really, really homophobic and misogynistic, the situation there. And it's about him, his family, and the boy he falls in love with. Brutal, violent, definitely trigger warnings, especially for what happens in the middle of the book. And it's a dual timeline, so you slowly understand what is going on. I don't know what about summer brings out the weepy book for me. It's about, I think, that sticky, wet feeling of crying because it's so awful what is happening that I really associate with summer. I read A Little Life in the summer, so maybe that's that. But I love this book, even though I would never reread it, never again. But I think everybody should read it at least once. And then let's cut back to not so heavy stuff. One of my favorite books of this year is going to be The Details by Ia Gemberg. such a wonderful feeling reading this book. It's about a woman who gets a fever in the beginning of the book, and she's like bed sick. And she's like, I am remembering right now all of the beautiful and horrible relationships of my life, be it friendships or boyfriends and girlfriends. And this book it's such a short book, but it gives it a feeling of doing an aperitivo, drinking something really ice cold in a very hot summer day and watching the sunset with your friends and laughing and playing cards all night long. It's the same exact feeling that cannot be replicated. And the writing in this one, it's so simple yet effective, and it's beautiful. And then the last book for Girls So Confusing. It's for my non-fiction girlies, okay? I know you exist. Baby, Kitchen Confidential by Anthony Bourdain. You want a book about food and about human relationship? Read Anthony Bourdain. Oh my god, he was such a good writer. This is about a collection of little stories about his life being a line cook and how he grew up and how he became a famous chef and a famous, food connoisseur and traveler. This gives you that sticky, wet feeling of going into a kitchen to cook something really hot on a summer day and leaving satisfied because the food was so good. Then, for my summer read girlies, Joyride. I only have 3 books, but these are very different, and I think I'll cover everybody with these 3 books. Is for my detective novel girlies. This includes my mother. She loves to read detective novels in the summer. This is actually a pretty funny book. It's The 3 Dog Problems. It's the second book, I think, in Her Majesty the Queen Investigates series, but you can read them in any particular order. It's about Queen Elizabeth solving mysteries with her 3 corgis. It does not get any cuter than that, but the mystery is actually very, very compelling. I really like the mystery in this one. And I like how all the dogs have different personalities and actually help the queen solve the mystery. It's kind of bittersweet now reading them because the queen has passed, but the writer really had a deep appreciation for who the queen was and what she did, even though she's not skirting about, the price of living that life. But it's funny, it's light, and it has a very, very good mystery. And then, this is truly for my summer read girlies. This is City of Laughter by Tammy Fruchter. This is about it's a generational story, but it's about a girl who lives in New York City. She's Jewish, and she is slowly discovering the secrets of her family, coming down from her grandmother with her letters, and it's about them, a really big secret, and apparently a spirit called the Book, and it's about Jewish mythology and history, and it's about what is going on with the Jews in New York City and how they came to be there. It's insightful. I think it's a very timely story for what is going on right now, but also it's about family, and it's so eerie and spooky, but also, summer in New York. Definitely a summer read, even though it's so eerie and spooky and about, mysticism. It was incredible. And then the last book that I'm going to recommend you is probably the best that I'm going to recommend you. It's my favorite book of all time. You may see this chunky boy and think this is too chunky for summer. This is actually a lot of books. I think it's 5 books in one. This is The Grey House by Marion Petrosian. I have the wonderful first edition in Italian. Favorite book of all time. You have this kind of study boarding school for the summer for disabled kids, and it's based on real houses in which in Russia people deliver their kids like they were packages, like disabled kids, and the parents get to spend the summer without them, so they don't have to be seen or heard. It was awful. This kind of boarding school house, when the kids enter, something happens to them, to the place, and you have no idea up until the end if it's the imagination of the kids or if it's actually real magical realism, because they form gangs and they go to war and they fall in love and they stab each other, and there's like multiple stairs and places that do not appear on the map of the house, and it's so eerie and spooky, but also about friendship, and everything is set in this sticky hot summer where everybody's sweating. And favorite book of all time, incredible. I still think about this book years and years after I read it, and I read it multiple times. I think I reread this in order for this one. If you want to get one single recommendation for me, it's going to be this book, The Grey House by Mary Petrosian. I am sweating. It's so hot in here, but girl, not so confusing. It's so hot. So yeah, this was my ultimate summer guide. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you can find at least one book that is going to inspire you, I don't know, pick up reading in the summer or start reading again. I've seen a lot of people going through reading slumps, so I hope this helped you. I hope you enjoyed this video. I have some social down below if you want to connect with me, and if you could please like, comment, like, subscribe, you know, the YouTube stuff, and I'll see you in the next one. It will be a vlog, but it's going to be very chaotic, so you'll see. Goodbye! Mwah!